The house on the hill. It was a rainy, dark night when Laura arrived at the old house on the hill. After months of waiting and a convoluted buying process, she had finally moved into the property that had been inherited from a distant uncle. What was supposed to be a new beginning for Laura seemed to be the setting of an old, unresolved mystery. The house, a Victorian mansion, was covered in moss and shrouded in a thick fog that seemed to drag in from the depths of the surrounding woods. Laura inserted the rusty key into the lock and entered, the sound of the door creaking echoing through the empty entry hall. The first impression was one of abandonment, with furniture covered in sheets and a thick layer of dust everywhere. As she explored the property, Laura found a series of old letters hidden in a secret drawer in the study. The letters, written in elegant and meticulous handwriting, were addressed to a recipient named Richard. The messages spoke of dark secrets and a promise to reveal something important soon. However, none of the letters seemed to have been sent. Cold and fear began to set in when Laura noticed something strange. One of the letters was stained with a dark, sticky substance. Suspicious, she decided to investigate further. After several days of searching the place, she discovered a hidden compartment behind a bookcase, containing a wooden box. Inside the box were a series of old photographs and a dusty diary. The diary revealed that Laura's uncle, Arthur, had been obsessed with an unresolved mystery about the disappearance of a young woman named Eliza, who had vanished at the beginning of the last century. Arthur believed that Eliza had been kidnapped and hidden within the house itself. He had devoted his last years to the investigation but had never found any concrete evidence. Laura began to feel watched. On several occasions, she heard whispers and footsteps coming from empty rooms. Lights flickered inexplicably, and doors closed by themselves. Each night, fear grew, and a dream of a young woman in a white dress appeared in her nightmares. Determined to uncover the truth, Laura followed the clues left in the diary. Her research led her to an old attic that seemed to have been sealed for decades. With effort, she opened the rusty door and entered. The attic was filled with dusty boxes and objects, but something made her freeze. A series of marks on the floor and a section of the wall that seemed slightly displaced. Laura removed the boards and found a secret room. Inside was the skeleton of a young woman, dressed in what appeared to be a period dress. Next to it was a small jewelry box and a dusty note that read, "I will never let you go, Eliza. They will never know the truth." Laura was horrified. She discovered that her uncle had found the burial site but had never been able to prove the victim's identity, being forced to keep the secret to protect the family's honor. Laura understood that the true story of Eliza and the unresolved mystery had finally been revealed. That night, as the rain fell relentlessly, Laura found a certain peace. She knew she had brought justice to Eliza and that, somehow, the young spirit had finally found rest. But the house on the hill, with its buried stories and secrets, would always remain a reminder that the past can be unsettling and its mysteries enduring. After the discovery in the attic, Laura was determined to seek justice for Eliza. She decided to bring the evidence to the police and reveal what she had found. The news shocked the small surrounding community, and quickly, Eliza's story was reopened. The police began a more thorough investigation of the old house, and the local media extensively covered the case. In the following weeks, Laura tried to move on with her life, but the feeling of being watched never left her. She realized that some of the old photographs found in Arthur's diary showed the interior of the house, but each one had details that seemed different from the current conditions. Details she couldn't explain, like furniture that wasn't there or pieces of art that seemed to have disappeared. One night, while Laura was in the study reviewing documents, she heard a noise coming from upstairs. The sound was like the dragging of something heavy. Her heart raced as she climbed the stairs, following the noise to the room where she had found the letters. Upon opening the door, she found an unsettling scene. The bed was disheveled, and the window was slightly open, even though she was sure she had closed it. Laura approached the window and noticed something strange. In the garden, where the moonlight filtered through the trees, she saw the outline of a hooded figure. The figure appeared to be digging something into the ground. Laura, with her heart pounding, ran back to the study to grab a flashlight, and when she returned to the window, the figure had vanished. The next day, Laura told the police about what she had seen. They conducted a search of the garden and found a freshly dug hole. Inside was a small box of corroded metal. Upon opening it, they found more documents and old jewelry, some of which were in the photographs found in Arthur's diary. Even more disturbing, there was a list of names written on a sheet of paper. Among them was the name Richard, the recipient of the letters. Laura was intrigued. Richard seemed to have been an important figure in Arthur's life and was possibly involved in the mystery. However, he had died many years ago. Determined to learn more, Laura began to investigate Richard's life. She discovered that he had been a well-known historian and had written several books on local historical events. Among his writings, Laura found a reference to a theory that the house on the hill was a site for secret meetings used by a secret society over a century ago. Laura consulted a local history expert, who confirmed that Richard had indeed been associated with a secret organization known as the Guardians of the Truth. The organization's mission was to protect historical secrets and maintain social order. The expert suggested that the organization might have been involved in hiding the truth about Eliza. As Laura delved deeper into her research, strange events began occurring with increasing frequency. She discovered messages written in chalk on the kitchen blackboard, which simply read, "Don't trust anyone." The nighttime noises became more frequent, and fear turned into a constant sense of imminent danger. Laura decided to explore the house's basement. Using Arthur's journal as a guide, she uncovered a secret passage leading to an old maze of tunnels. The air was cold and damp, and the darkness seemed to swallow any light. While exploring the tunnels, she stumbled upon a hidden room with an ancient altar. On the altar, there was an old leather-bound book and a locked box. When she opened the book, it revealed a series of rituals and practices of the Truth Keepers, along with a list of names and codes. Laura realized that Eliza wasn't the only victim. There were other names on the list that seemed to have disappeared over the years. The locked box contained a key and an encrypted note, which Laura decided not to decipher alone. She knew she needed specialized help. She sought out a cryptographer to decode the note, which revealed a final secret. Richard had been a traitor to the organization, and as punishment, the Truth Keepers had planned to keep Eliza and other prisoners in the house until the truth was buried. Richard had left clues for Arthur, hoping that someone would one day uncover the mystery. With this new information, Laura managed to persuade the police to continue the investigation and expose the truth to the public. The revelation of the past led to a series of arrests and a re-evaluation of many local historical events. Laura decided to stay in the house and turn it into a research and education center about the historical events that had taken place there. She felt it was her duty to ensure that the truth was not forgotten and that the memory of Eliza and the other victims was honored. The house on the hill, with all its secrets and mysteries revealed, became a symbol of courage and perseverance. And while the fog still covered the hill on rainy nights, Laura knew that the past was not just a memory but a guide to the future. With the house transformed into a research and education center, Laura found a new purpose. However, even with the truth revealed, the house continued to be a place filled with untold stories and unsettling energies. Although the police and local experts tried to calm the atmosphere, rumors of paranormal activities and a possible curse still lingered over the property. Laura was busy with the reopening of the center when she began receiving anonymous letters. Each one contained a single word written in large, black letters, "No." They were accompanied by small clippings from old newspapers discussing mysterious incidents and disappearances associated with the house. Curious and concerned, Laura sought out a historian specializing in paranormal phenomena. Dr. Marcos, as he was called, studied the letters and clippings carefully. Dr. Marcos revealed that the house on the hill had been used as a ritual site not only by the Truth Keepers, but also by a group of occultists who believed the house had mystical properties and was linked to an ancient legend about a gateway to another world. Dr. Marcos explained that many believed the house was not just a hideout but a passageway between the world of the living and the world of the dead. The legend said that those who sought power or forbidden knowledge could enter this portal, but risked never returning. Laura was unsettled by this new information but decided to press on with the center's work, focusing on keeping the truth about the house's history accessible to the public. However, strange events continued. She found hidden symbols on the walls that seemed to have been painted recently. The research team also reported feeling a strange presence and hearing unexplained whispers. One night, Laura received a mysterious phone call. The voice on the other end was deep and distorted, and the caller only repeated one phrase: "The truth is not complete. The gateway is about to open." The call was followed by a series of disturbing events. The center's security system was hacked, and images of a hooded figure were displayed on the security screens. Determined to protect the work she had done and the center's safety, Laura decided to investigate further. With Dr. Marcos's help, she organized a nighttime expedition in the house to explore the deeper areas that had not yet been investigated. During the expedition, Laura and Dr. Marcos descended once again into the underground tunnels. As they advanced, they found melted candle marks and remnants of ritualistic symbols, confirming the recent presence of someone. The air was heavy, and the feeling of being watched was almost palpable. In one of the tunnels, they discovered a hidden room that seemed to be a larger altar than the one Laura had previously found. The altar was covered with an ancient tapestry, and in the center was a carved stone with arcane symbols. Dr. Marcos examined the stone and revealed that it was a key to an ancient ritual intended to open the gateway. As Laura and Dr. Marcos tried to understand the ritual, they discovered that the gateway was not just a metaphorical concept but a physical structure within the house. According to legends, the ritual could open a portal to another plane of existence where forbidden secrets and truths were kept. Laura realized that the person making the phone calls and carrying out acts of sabotage wanted the portal to be opened, perhaps to reveal something even more terrifying or to bring something from the other side. They began to rush to prevent the ritual from being completed. With time running out, Laura and Dr. Marcos faced a series of obstacles. The security system was completely disabled, and the house seemed to come alive, with doors closing on their own and corridors stretching in a supernatural manner. They battled against their growing fear and the sensation of being pursued by invisible forces. Eventually, they found the room where the ritual was about to begin. In the center stood a hooded figure, positioned over the altar, with an ancient book open before them. Laura and Dr. Marcos confronted the figure, revealing that it was a local community member who had become lost in the obsession with the house's hidden power. The figure attempted to complete the ritual, but Laura and Dr. Marcos interrupted the ceremony. With a combined effort, they destroyed the arcane symbols and burned the ancient book, sealing the gateway and preventing anything from another plane of existence from crossing over. With the ritual thwarted and the figure captured, the house finally returned to being a safe place. Exhausted, Laura decided that the best way forward was to transform the center into a place for studying and discussing historical and paranormal phenomena, with a focus on education and prevention. The house on the hill became a symbol of resilience and knowledge. Laura continued her work, now with a renewed perspective on the power of truth and the importance of facing mysteries with courage and integrity. And as the fog lifted with the dawn, the house seemed to exhale a sigh of relief, as if it could finally rest in peace. With the ritual interrupted and safety restored, Laura felt a new surge of determination. However, what should have been a relief soon turned into a new series of challenges. The house on the hill, now under surveillance and protection, began attracting the attention of experts and curious individuals from around the world. The house's fame grew, bringing with it more secrets and unresolved questions. Laura decided to use the attention to promote research and educate the public about historical events and paranormal phenomena. She organized conferences, exhibitions, and collaborations with scholars and experts. However, despite her good intentions, the growing interest brought new problems. An independent research group, led by an investigative journalist named Vanessa, was particularly interested in the house. Vanessa believed that the house harbored something even deeper and more dangerous, something Laura had not discovered. She requested permission to conduct her own investigations, and after some hesitation, Laura agreed, hoping that this might bring more clarity. Vanessa and her team set up advanced monitoring equipment and began exploring the house and its surroundings. They found more evidence of ancient rituals and hidden documents that seemed to confirm the house had been a focal point for a series of sinister historical events. However, as Vanessa and her team delved deeper into their investigations, they began reporting even more disturbing phenomena. Equipment inexplicably malfunctioned, shadows moved along the walls, and constant whispers were heard during recordings. Vanessa was convinced that there was something darker waiting to be discovered. Concerned about the increasing intensity of the events and her team's mental health, Laura decided to meet with Vanessa. During a long conversation, Vanessa revealed that she had found references to a guardian associated with the original ritual. According to legends, this guardian was an entity summoned to protect the gateway and ensure that no one could reveal its secrets. Vanessa believed that the guardian was still present in the house and that the interruption of the ritual had only enraged the entity. Based on the clues found, she suggested that the only way to appease the guardian and prevent further danger was to perform a protective ritual, a sort of counter-reaction to the original ritual, to ensure the house remained safe. Laura, though skeptical, agreed to allow the ritual, provided it was conducted under strict supervision and with the presence of trusted experts. She called in a group of reputable occultists, recommended by Dr. Marcos, to prepare the protective ritual. During the preparation, the house seemed to become increasingly agitated. Paranormal phenomena intensified, and the atmosphere was charged with a sense of impending calamity. Vanessa, Dr. Marcos, and Laura were at the heart of the house, ready to conduct the ritual with the utmost caution. As the ritual progressed, the energy in the house became palpable. Candles flickered, and the symbols drawn on the floor glowed with a supernatural light. However, as the incantations were chanted, an invisible presence seemed to resist their efforts. Sounds of pounding and distant screams echoed through the walls. Suddenly, the air turned icy, and the room was enveloped in thick darkness. The guardian's figure appeared, a towering shadow with glowing eyes reflecting deep disdain. Laura and the others felt the oppressive weight of the entity. The figure seemed to test each one's courage and determination. With a combined effort and intense concentration, the group managed to complete the protective ritual. The guardian's presence began to fade, and the feeling of oppression lifted. The candlelight returned to normal, and the house finally seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. After the ritual, Vanessa and her team were required to leave the house, and Laura decided to temporarily close the center for a thorough inspection and to reinforce security. She knew that the house had faced yet another trial, but the battle was far from over. Now more determined than ever, Laura decided that the next step would be to ensure that the house's history and the impact of recent events were comprehensively documented and studied. She began working on a book and a documentary about the house, its history, and the experiences lived, hoping it would help educate and prepare future researchers and curious minds. Additionally, Laura and Dr. Marcos continued to explore the possibility of conducting a new series of investigations to check if there were still unresolved aspects related to the house and the gateway. With the help of experts and new resources, they sought answers that could finally provide a complete understanding of the mysteries surrounding the location. The center reopened with new exhibits and a renewed approach, and the house on the hill continued to be a place of study and reflection. Laura learned that truth often lies beyond what the eyes can see and that, even with constant danger, the commitment to knowledge and integrity is the true key to confronting the unknown. As the sun set over the hill and the mist cleared, the house remained in a state of eternal vigilance, a reminder that the past can be deep and mysterious, but the quest for truth must never cease. With the center reopened and security reinforced, Laura began to receive a new wave of academic and public interest. The book and documentary she was producing attracted international attention, and researchers from around the world were eager to collaborate and share information. However, the growing notoriety brought new challenges and a surge of restless curiosity. Among the interested researchers was a team of archaeologists specializing in ancient artifacts and occult symbols. They were convinced that the house might harbor more historical secrets hidden beneath the grounds. Eager to uncover any new information that could shed light on the house's mysteries, Laura agreed to allow excavation of an area around the property. While the team of archaeologists worked in the garden and nearby grounds, Laura and Dr. Marcos continued to review documents and explore historical records. They found references to a series of events that had occurred in the area before the house was built, suggesting that the site had a much older and more complex history than they had imagined. These events included accounts of ancient rituals performed by indigenous peoples and cults worshipping ancient deities and powerful entities. One night, Laura received an emergency call from the archaeologists. During the excavation, they had discovered a subterranean chamber hidden beneath a deep layer of earth and rocks. The chamber was filled with ancient artifacts and inscriptions that appeared to have been preserved for centuries. Among the items found was an ancient manuscript in remarkably good condition. Laura and Dr. Marcos immediately went to the site. The chamber had an almost sacred atmosphere, and the manuscript, protected by a glass case, was covered in symbols and written in an ancient language that no one could identify with certainty. The manuscript was taken to a specialized laboratory for a thorough analysis. After weeks of intense work, the team of linguists and historians managed to translate part of the text. The manuscript described an ancient prophecy about the gateway of worlds and mentioned the presence of an eternal guardian, an entity believed to have the power to control and protect the portals between different realities. Laura was fascinated by the new information. The prophecy seemed to confirm that the house on the hill was linked to a broader network of mysterious sites and events scattered around the world. However, the translation also revealed a warning about the influence of the Eternal Guardian. If disturbed, it could cause great catastrophes and disasters. As Laura and Dr. Marcos discussed the significance of the discovery, the center began to experience a series of unsettling events. Lights flickered, equipment malfunctioned, and the sensation of a strange presence returned. Vanessa, who had been invited to help interpret the new findings, reported having disturbing visions and vivid dreams about the Eternal Guardian. Laura began to fear that the presence of the Eternal Guardian mentioned in the manuscript might have been awakened again by the recent excavations and discoveries. She decided to seek the help of a renowned occult expert, Professor Alexei, to conduct a deeper investigation and ensure that the Guardian was not causing disturbances. Professor Alexei, after studying the new information and examining the house and manuscript, made an alarming revelation. The Eternal Guardian was not merely an entity but a force that could manipulate reality and cause disruptions in the fabric of time and space. He believed that if the Guardian were disturbed or improperly invoked, there could be a convergence of realities and a potential collapse. Laura, Dr. Marcos, and Professor Alexei worked together to prepare a containment and protection ritual. The ritual involved creating a new protective circle around the house and performing a series of ceremonies designed to stabilize the energy and ensure that the Eternal Guardian remained confined and did not cause further issues. The night of the ritual arrived, and the house was filled with palpable tension. Laura and her team were all prepared to face the unknown. As the ceremonies progressed and the chants were recited, the energy in the house became intense and chaotic. Paranormal phenomena reached their peak, with doors slamming, shadows moving, and a growing sense of despair. At the climax of the ritual, the presence of the Eternal Guardian manifested powerfully. It was a colossal and menacing form, with glowing eyes and an aura of terror. Laura, Dr. Marcos, and Professor Alexei, despite their growing fear, maintained their focus and completed the ritual. The Guardian's force began to diminish, and the house returned to a state of calm. After the ritual, Laura and her team were exhausted but relieved. The presence of the Eternal Guardian seemed to have been contained, and the house appeared to have finally found balance. The archaeological team finished cataloging the artifacts and manuscripts, and Laura decided to organize a new exhibition to share the discoveries and educate the public about the true history and challenges faced. The house on the hill became a symbol not only of mystery and history, but also of courage and resilience. Laura continued her work, now with a deeper perspective on the dangers and wonders of the unknown. The story of the house, with all its layers of secrecy and intrigue, was preserved and studied, serving as a reminder that truth, though often hidden and enigmatic, is a pursuit worth undertaking. As the hill's mist dispersed at dawn and the house remained silent, Laura knew that, while many mysteries still lingered, the quest for understanding and knowledge would never end. And so, the house continued to be a beacon for those who dared to confront the unknown and explore the depths of history and beyond.